Judas, where are you? Holy Wednesday is also called Spy Wednesday, for it is the day in the church which underlines Judas' betrayal. Judas sells the master. When we think of the selling of people, what first comes to our minds is the slave trade, something from the far, distant past. More than the business of, for example, the sale of the Yazidi girls to the Daesh. But this, again, is something distant, physically distant, something distant, far away from us, something that isn't of our lives. Every day, even today, every day, people are sold. There are Judases who sell their own brothers and sisters, exploiting them for work without any just pay, without consciously recognizing or willing to say what it is that they will truly used and truly be doing. Few become household servants. Rather, they will be sold quickly into the sex trade and never again be seen. In order to have a greater convenience, a person is able to take his parents away and not see them anymore. Take them far, far away to a safe old age home and not visit them any longer. He is, in effect, selling them. There is a common saying that such a person is capable of selling his or her own mother. And they do, in effect, sell her away. Now they feel at peace. They are kept away. In other words, you take care of them. Trafficking in human persons today is as it was in times hundreds of years ago. It is done as it has always been done, and it has never stopped. And why is that? Jesus himself even asked the question. He gave money the status of the master. Jesus said, "You cannot serve two masters, God and money." It is the only thing that Jesus can compare, and each one of us needs to choose. Either serve God, and you will be free and ready for service, or be in service to money, and you will forever be a slave to it and part of the devil's service. This is the option. Serve one or the other. But many people think, I'll be able to serve both. I'm strong and I am smart. But as they want to serve both God and money, they become the devil's plaything. Serving both cannot be done. In the end, they pretend to serve God in order to serve money. They are hidden exploiters, socially flawless, but under the table. They even traffic in human beings. It doesn't matter to them. Human exploitation is, after all, merely selling one's neighbors. Judas went away, but he left some disciples who are not his disciples, but the devil's. What Judas' life was like, we do not know. He must have been something of a normal boy, perhaps with anxieties, because the Lord called him to be one of his disciples. He never succeeded in being one. Judas did not have the mouth of a disciple or the heart of a disciple, as we hear in these readings. He was weak in his discipleship, but Jesus still loved him. Then the gospel teaches us that Judas did not love Jesus, but only the money, to the point of stealing it from the donations for the poor that he was to have been overseeing. At Lazarus' house, when Mary anoints Jesus' feet with the expensive perfumed oil, Judas makes the reflection that this should have been sold for 300 days' wages and given to the poor. But John the Evangelist emphasizes, Judas did not say this because he loved the poor, but because he was a thief. Judas' love for money had led him beyond the rules to stealing, and from stealing to betraying there is only one small step. Those who love money too much betray in order to have even more, always. This is a rule. It is a fact of the matter. Judas, perhaps a good boy with good intentions, ends up a traitor to the point of going to the market to sell. He went to the chief priests and said, "What are you prepared to give me if I hand him over to you?" In my professional and personal opinion, Judas was quite insane by now, totally out of his mind, full on nutters. And the insanity was burning from his eyes during the Passover feast. Jesus reacted to it. They all separated from Judas, for that fire in his eyes, the insanity, maybe depression, maybe possession. One thing that draws one's attention is that Jesus never called him a traitor. Jesus says that he will be betrayed, but he never once calls the person doing the betrayal a traitor. Jesus never said, "Get away from me, you traitor." Never. Rather, Jesus addresses Judas as friend and embraces him, kisses him on the cheek, as was the custom. Father Primo Mazzolari explained the mystery of Judas in this way. How did Judas end up? I am not sure. Jesus makes a strong threat here. Woe to the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would be better for that man if he had never been born. But does this mean that Judas is in hell? I do not know. I reread it and see that the Christ still calling Judas as friend. But it makes us think of another thing that is more real and far more current. The devil entered Judas, and it was the devil who led Judas to that point. So how, then, did the story end? The devil is a very poor taskmaster, and he is a very unreliable paymaster. He promises everything and shows you all that you desire, and in the end, he leaves you alone, in despair, preparing to hang yourself, but he even very helpfully provides you the rope. Judas' heart is tormented by the concupiscence and the tormentor by the love of Jesus, a love that failed to become love. Tormented by this fog, Judas goes back to the chief priests and begs for forgiveness and asks for salvation. What is that to us? It is your responsibility, they reply. The devil speaks like this and leaves the sinner in even greater despair. Let us think of the many institutionalized Judases in the world who exploit people, and thinks only of the small Judas that each one of us has within at the hour of choice, between loyalty and self-interest. Each one of them has the ability to betray, to sell, to choose for one's own interest. Each one of us has the opportunity to let ourselves be attracted by the love of money or goods or future well-being. Judas, where are you? But I will ask each one of you. You, Judas, your little Judas within you, where are you?